Hi, I'm Isaac Shelley, Product Manager with Leviton. Today I'm going to show you how simple and easy it is to design a system with GreenConnect Wireless. GreenConnect Wireless has wall stations, junction box mounted load controllers, battery powered companion switch and dimmer, a ceiling mounted occupancy sensor with an integrated photocell, and a split controlled receptacle. So when designing a GreenConnect system, the first thing to consider is what type of load do you have in your space. Is it switching? Is it dimming? And then how do you want to control it? Do you want to control it at the wall with a switch or a dimmer? Or do you want to control it at the circuit level, maybe above the ceiling with one of our junction box load controllers? And then for wall control, either a switch or a dimmer, or one of our companion dimmers or switch. So starting with our switch, for example, GreenConnect has a 10 amp wireless switch that includes two faceplates in the box, both light almond and ivory. You just squeeze at the bottom to remove the faceplate and change colors if you want. GreenConnect also has 3 different types of dimmers. This is our 0 to 10 volt dimmer. We also have a forward phase dimmer that can do up to 1000 watts of incandescent. And the 0 to 10 volt dimmer is both 120 to 277, and we also have a 347 volt version of our 0 to 10 volt dimmer. Again, this dimmer also includes a light almond and ivory faceplate. This is the GreenConnect switch. You tap the top rocker to turn the switch on, the bottom rocker to turn the switch off. The GreenConnect dimmers, tap the top rocker to turn the switch on, bottom rocker to turn the switch off, and the dimming bar is on the side, so you tap to raise or to lower. Now these devices can be used by themselves as standalone dimmers or a standalone switch. They're also great for multi-way. GreenConnect is wireless, it's push to pair. So GreenConnect is a great solution when you have multi-way control. You simply install another switch or dimmer in the 3-way location, bring power to the device, and just cap off your blue load out to use this as the remote. So GreenConnect switch or dimmer, either as a standalone switch or dimmer, or paired to another switch or dimmer for multi-way, is a great solution. So after you've decided if you want to either switch the load in the room or if you have a requirement for dimming, whether it be 0 to 10 volt or forward phase, you decide which type of control device or load controller you want to use, whether it be a wall switch or dimmer or the junction box load controllers. There's a test button on the front you can use to test to make sure that the device is wired up correctly. So for the switching ones, you tap once and it will switch the load on or off. For dimming, it will switch the load off and then raise to 20%, 50%, and up to full, and then back to off. So a good way to know and to check that your wiring is correct and that everything is dimming like it should. So these, as you can see, they include a lock nut that you would remove entirely and pass over the wires, feed the wires through your junction box, through the knockout, and then secure with the lock nut. This is the 0 to 10 volt version, but there's also a forward phase dimming and a switching version of our load controllers. So these are for when you want to switch or dim a full circuit up above the ceiling. And then for wall control, again, you can either use one of our line voltage switches or dimmers, or a battery powered companion switch or dimmer. So these are a great solution for when running control wires from the load down the wall is either impractical or not affordable. Using one of our battery powered companion switches or dimmer is a great option for those applications when you're using one of our junction box load controllers. Our battery powered companion switch and dimmer include device screws if you want to install the switch or dimmer into a device box. They also include double-sided tape if you want to just simply peel both sides of those off, adhere, and then stick the dimmer or switch to the wall surface. So after you've decided what your load type is, how you want to control it, and where you want to control it, if you need sensing in your space, whether it be occupancy or vacancy, or if you have a requirement for daylight harvesting, then you add in one of our battery powered ceiling mount occupancy sensors. It's a PIR occupancy sensor with an integrated photocell. So this device can function as an occupancy sensor or a daylight sensor or both. It's included with the hardware to mount either stem or using screws on the back plate, and it includes double-sided tape. You can again mount either using the stem or using device screws through these holes. Again, so this is how you install on the ceiling, or double-sided tape to install on the ceiling. Comes with a single AA battery to power the sensor, and you remove the tab to power it up. Test button, the sensing element, and some information about the device. So the LED is right on the board, and you can see it clearly through the lens once you put the lens back on. So for pairing programming, that's the test button there that you use. An important design consideration for the sensor is when you're installing these, go ahead and install the base first, but wait to install the sensor on the ceiling. Wait until it's time to program. It's a lot simpler to have the sensor down off the ceiling and near your network manager when you're doing programming. For states where there is a code requirement for plug load control, GreenConnect has a controlled receptacle. It's a split receptacle with the top outlet controlled, the bottom outlet constant on. That's the test and programming button there in the middle. So this is a feed-through receptacle, and the blue terminal is the load that is controlled in conjunction with the top outlet. So not only what is plugged into the top outlet control, but anything fed from the blue load out terminal is also switched on or off based on occupancy. So when the receptacle is paired to a GreenConnect system, it responds to the occupancy sensor. When the space goes vacant, the top outlet will turn off. The top outlet is not controlled by the wall station, so you do not manually control the top outlet on or off with the wall station. It responds to the occupancy sensor. But great device for plug load control that also can switch additional receptacles fed downstream. If you have a requirement for multi-way control, then you have a number of options. So returning to our wall switch and dimmer, for multi-way, simply wire in another switch at the other location, cap off your load out because you're not going to need that, and then pair it with the other switch and they'll work together from either location. Same for the dimmer. If you have dimming requirements for multi-way, wire it up at the N-way location or at the three-way location, just cap off your blue, pair the two together, and they'll work just fine. When designing a GreenConnect system, another important consideration is range, how far apart the devices are from each other. GreenConnect uses a 2.4 gigahertz wireless mesh network, and its range is 75 feet line of sight. So GreenConnect has a very powerful transmitter on a very reliable and stable band, but it still has its limitations. So when designing systems, consider the distance between devices and don't exceed the range of 75 feet line of sight. The wireless signal can go around corners. It is repeated by devices as it's broadcast out, but when pairing devices together, it's critical that they all be within 75 feet of each other. Another design consideration is don't try and program more than one room at a time. Once a network manager has been created and a wireless network is open, there's nothing that prevents a device in one room from joining a network in another room if two rooms are open at the same time. So only program one GreenConnect network. This is Retrofit. And this is new construction. And this is maybe kind of an overall. This can be a GreenConnect system. When designing a GreenConnect system, how you're using the space is something to consider. For example, in a corridor, our junction box load controller is a great solution for corridors where you don't necessarily want or need a wall station. You don't really want someone turning or controlling the lights on or off in the corridor. So you can have a GreenConnect load controller with a GreenConnect occupancy sensor, and that's it. That's the system. Right? So there's nothing wrong. There's no requirement to have a wall station for GreenConnect to work. You simply configure your load controller as the network manager, pair the sensor to it, and that's it. Right? So this will switch on or off or dim up and down based on how you have your sensor configured. Right? So GreenConnect can be just wall stations. It can be a load controller with a sensor. It can be a light voltage dimmer with a sensor. It can be a dimmer with a battery-powered companion. It can be a load controller with a ceiling mount sensor and a receptacle. These are the combinations. You can pair up to 16 devices together to form a network. The battery-powered devices and the receptacle cannot create a network, but they can join a network. Why would I use a Wallbox switch or dimmer instead of a junction box load controller? And really it comes down to the requirements of the space and the wiring also, especially in retrofits. Existing wiring, how is it routed and where is the best place to put my new wireless device? Is it in the wall or is it up in the ceiling? Sometimes getting new wires to a wall box isn't convenient or it's expensive. So it's easier to get to the wires that you want to control using one of our junction box load controller. But then the question is, but I still want something on the wall, right? And that's where using one of our battery powered companion dimmers or switches is a great solution when a junction box load controller is the best way to actually switch or dim the lights in the space. Another option or a use case for the companion dimmers or switch is when you are able to or want to switch or dim the lights at the wall, but then you want to do it in more than one location, right? So you have multi-way switching or dimming, but that other location, again, is someplace that maybe it's not easy to get control wires to, or in a traditional three-way application, you have a traveler wire that goes between the two devices. Right, so when it's not convenient to run a traveler, the battery-powered companion switcher dimmer is a great solution for that.